So let's get going. So today is day 2 of our time management lesson. Hopefully, you had a chance to do the assignment. So you can send me an instant message. Did you watch or did you listen to the audio? Schedule equals freedom. How many people listened to that? So let's see. Listen to audio, JC. What did you think, JC? Did you like it?
I did.
Yeah, that guy's good. He was one of my old coaches. I mean, that tape is
3 pages
from like
of notes.
3 pages of notes, right? So now, and here's a little exercise for you too. So if you sat down and you listened to that, so then what I'd like you to do, if you took notes, right? What I'd like you to do is take your notes and then without listening to the audio, sit down and rewrite your notes. Because when you sit down and rewrite them, you can, every time you write something down, right, you can stop and think about it, where when you're listening, you're just writing and writing and writing. So, but when you rewrite the notes, it's amazing what happens. You actually learn it at higher levels. That's something I had to do. So I had to rewrite, my management retreat, which was, 2 days of, that kind of note writing. I mean, just page after page after page. So I rewrote them. It took me a while to rewrite them, but because it takes longer to rewrite them because you're stopping and contemplating on what you just wrote down and what you learned. So Deb said yes. And then, so how many people wrote their perfect schedule? So let's see. You can instant message me on that. Oh, Amy asked to present. No, Amy can't. Yeah, I get those, and I always think there's somebody trying to join the meeting, and it says they're trying to pass, and I pass the presentation. Sometimes that's what happened when my screen disappears. When I pass the presentation and take it back, I forget to share my screen again. But anyways, so Amy, that was a yes on writing your perfect schedule or listening to the audio. So, and if you're on your computer, you all see the instant message chat, right? So anyway, all right, well, let's get going. Oh, Amy wrote her schedule. Perfect. I wrote a schedule too. And we're going to talk about that some more today. So let's get going. So today's time management is how to handle the overwhelm of a new schedule, right? So, I mean, when you have a schedule and you have a routine, and you've been doing this routine for, 30 days, 30 months, 30 years, whatever it is, right? And then I'm going to come along and shatter it and make you and you're going to create a new schedule. Well, that's going to be, that's tough. That's real tough. Trust me, I know. So trust me, I know. So, and I'm doing the same thing. I've been writing my schedule. So I have a schedule written. The thing is with mine, I have to do, I write a daily schedule, and then there's a few days that have like meetings will be thrown in there, like office meetings and things like that, that will take me off of that, daily routine, when I teach CE classes and such. But I still have a daily schedule, just knowing that there's going to be days that, I'm going to go teach, like, I taught a CE class in Price. That shoots the whole day. By the time you drive down there, set up, teach a class, then you got the after class meeting, and then drive back. I leave at 8 o'clock, get home at 3:30, 4 o'clock. A day's shot. So anyway, but that's, those are the exceptions to the rules, right? So remember, creating the perfect schedule is if you hit it, like I said, 30, 40%, you're doing good, right? The top producers are probably 80 or 90% of their actual schedule. And these are the top producers. Now, you can get there over time. It's not going to happen right away. You're not going to change that routine overnight. So let's get to the next slide. So your new schedule, it's a habit like your old schedule is a habit, okay? So it's not just a new schedule. It's changing one habit for another. Okay? And changing habits are very, very challenging. I mean, habits are not easy. I used to be a smoker. And so, and things get so ingrained that, there were certain events would take place. So, and that's what I had to learn to do. When, like, certain intersections, I would, I'd light a cigarette because I would be finished the cigarette by the time I got to my driveway, because I didn't smoke in the house. So, and I learned when I hit that intersection, man, I would have to white knuckle through that. I would want one so bad, so, and I called those my demons. I had to conquer each little minor demon to get me through to get me through that. So about 8 months later, after my daughter was born, then we were flying. We were getting on a plane. And so my routine always was that after I went through security, and that's a stressful pain in the butt, going through the airport. So I would always have a cigarette right after that. And here it was 8 months after I quit. When I went through security, man, I stood straight up and went, holy crap, I wanted a cigarette so bad that, in other words, so these little incidences that would cause you to do certain things become habitual, and then I had to learn to conquer that. But once I did it once, then it was okay. Once I got through it the one time, I was reprogramming my mind to where that when I went through that situation, I no longer smoked a cigarette, and I was okay after that. But that's how powerful habits are. 8 months later, it had been like I had never quit. I mean, I wanted one so bad. So it's important to really be paying attention to when you're getting off track, what's going on, what circumstances are taking place in your life, that are tied to the old habit that makes you want to do the other things, or at least not do what you're supposed to be doing on your schedule. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to everybody. So, and you can always ask questions in the meantime. It's always best, and just best to just instant message me. I've got the thing sitting there, so it'll pop up on my screen. So let's get to the next one. So the next one, so this one is so important as well, right? Controlling distractions. So how do you do that, right? Well, you got to set yourself up. You got to put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Because I have two phones that ring on my cell phone, so I have Do Not Disturb, plus then I also turn off the ringer. So, and I don't even let it vibrate. I don't even want it vibrating. So I have, so I make sure I turn off my phone. My business line is on Do Not Disturb. My personal line doesn't ring. I can't hear it. And so if you're prospecting on your phone, it's a little, because the other one is turn off your notifications if you can. Now, that can be a challenge to turn them on and off all the time. But the idea is, so I make calls through my computer, so which is real handy because then I don't have to look at my phone, because I got all kinds of notifications on my phone as well. But I don't look at my phone during the day hardly. I'm looking at my computer. So that so you have to control your distractions, right? And then and your environment. So it's more environmental, right? That's the key to keep it on the new schedule. And to learn your new schedule, you have to do this it takes a while. So, first we're just going to do it for a day. Then we're going to do it for a week, as best we can. Try and hit 30, 40, 50%. Then if you can do that for 30 days, if you can hit 50% for 30 days, well, then you can add 10% more, where you can hit 60% for 30 days. And then eventually, you'll have control. Because remember, when you control your schedule, you control your life. Okay? If you're not controlling your schedule, you're not controlling your life. Other people are, right? So here's a quote. So Debbie just pinged me a quote. A plan is what a schedule is when it takes both a plan and a schedule to get things done. Okay? So I like that. It's true. Because what is a plan? A schedule is nothing more than, a map or, a guideline to achieve your goals. We talked about that yesterday. The schedule is based on your goals, right? So when you're off schedule, that means what was that? Hey, Debbie, if you could send me that other quote, the one about, that was great from yesterday. I want to read that one like almost every day. It was the one with something about your dreams and that kind of stuff. So when it comes up, it'll kind of. So, but let's talk about control and distractions. What do you guys, what are some things you can do to help you control your distractions? Right. One is turn your phone off. So when you're making calls, it's not ringing. The other one is you have to be disciplined to make the calls and just let things go to voicemail. One of the things I used to do. Here it is. Here's the quote. The more you resist a schedule, the more you resist your goals, your dreams, and your vision. You get that? That's so huge because if you can easily get distracted just like that, then that means your goals aren't powerful enough. The goals, you're not committed to your goals. You're not committed to your vision. You're not committed to your dreams. Well, you're saying it's okay if you don't take a nice vacation. Well, you're saying it's okay, if your kids don't go to do certain things. That's what you're saying when you're off your schedule. It's got to be, they have to be connected. In other words, when doing what you're supposed to be doing has to be connected to your goals, your dreams, your vision. And it's got to be painful when you're not doing it, right? So what you're saying is it's okay if your babies don't have shoes, right? My bills aren't paid. My baby needs shoes and I'm busted, right? That was an old blues song. So, so what you're saying is when you get off your schedule, it's okay, right? So you have to ask yourself, is it okay to not reach your goals? That's the question you need to ask yourself when you're getting off schedule. So here's another quote. So focused action beats brilliance. That Mark Sandberg. And that's the truth. That's the truth. You get some of these sports teams that win the championship. They weren't always the better team, more talented team. They just wanted it more than the other team. They had the heart. They wanted it bad. They wanted it more. And they did what it takes. So anyway. So any thoughts or questions so far? So getting back on track. So here's the thing. If you get off track, right, let's not dwell on it for 3 months, right? You just, the next day you pop the cork, or the end of the day, you pop the cork and say, Happy New Year. Tomorrow's a new year. It doesn't matter. You get 5 minutes in the corner, right? 5 minutes. Now, I want it to feel, I want you to feel bad about it, but you can't dwell on it to where the next day you're now depressed, and then you're definitely going to be off your schedule. So you have to get on your schedule, but you have to, get over it quickly and then get back on schedule, right? But then make it up. So in other words, if your schedule said you're to make 15 calls in a day to somebody and you did 5, and it's Monday and you only did 5, well, you got 4 days to make up those 10. So if you got to make 15, so that means the next 3 days, you got to do 18 calls a day for 3 days and then 16 calls on your 4th day or whatever that looks like. You just got to bust it out, get back on track. You can't just say, oh, well, never mind, I didn't do it. Because, again, what that says is your goals, your dreams, and your visions aren't that important. So, and that can't be. They have to be so powerful, and they have to be tied to your schedule. You got to be able to do this, right? So, any thoughts or questions so far? So, let's get to the assignment, right? So, assignment is write down anything that's causing you to get overwhelmed, right? And what's going to cause you to get overwhelmed is trying to take your new schedule and shove it inside your old schedule. Your two schedules cannot exist simultaneously. The best way to look at your two new schedules is your new schedule is light and your old schedule is dark. light and dark cannot occupy the same space. You have to eliminate your old schedule, and you have to adapt your new one, right? So when you're going to get overwhelmed and anxious, it's when you're trying to shove your new schedule into the old one. It doesn't work. We got to get rid of the old schedule, and it's not going to happen overnight. This is a process. But so write down, so this is your assignment, write down anything that's causing you to get off track and overwhelmed with your new schedule. The second schedule this is called Time in Motion Hourly, right? So at the end, and this is an assignment that I'm doing with my coach. So I have my schedule, and at the end of each hour, I have to write down what I did that hour, right? So think about that. So just take little Post-it notes, and then, sit down for 2 minutes at the end of each hour and write down what you did. And then look at it at the end of the week and say, was I on schedule? It'll help you. That exercise will help you. If you do that exercise, I promise you, it will help you change your schedule faster. And again, we're not trying to change your schedule. It's not like to be mean. It's to help you reach your goals, your dreams, your vision. So if you tell me you want it, but then you won't do your schedule, well, then I call bull. You don't want it. You don't want it bad enough. You got to want it so bad that wild horses can't keep you off your schedule, right? So that's the key to that. So I'm going to open it up for a couple minutes. Anybody have any thoughts on that? JC, what are your thoughts that are running through your mind as I'm shattering your schedule?
What are my thoughts?
Yeah, what are your thoughts? What do you think about all this?
I don't know. I think right now with the girls being gone, it's a different schedule than when the girls come back.
Sure.
But obviously, August is going to change dramatically for me.
Right.
So I'm just hoping to have it all into place by then. But
right. You're going to have to write your schedule. You are going to have to write your schedule based on if the girls were here. But in the meantime, they're not, so take full advantage of it.
Right. So, this week is good, but then the next 2 weeks are going to be crazy, right?
Right. They'll be back.
For everything else, yeah.
Right.
But,
for those that don't know, JC has twin 5-year-old girls. Did they turn 6 yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she has twin 6-year-old girls. So, that can get a little hectic. So, anybody else? Charles, what are your thoughts? Charles on mute. I'm going to wake him up.
I'm crazy just thinking, how easy it is to get off a schedule, and I need to do better at staying focused and getting back to the schedule rather than like last Monday when I let myself get off schedule, and next thing I know, the day is gone.
Right.
Because I never tried to get back on it. So.
Right. So, and then if you had a chance to go through the schedule, and so the one thing I loved in there was always make your appointments in the, from 3 to 7 range or later in the afternoon. Don't make appointments in the morning, and don't make any appointments in the morning, right? I mean, if you have a doctor's appointment, make it in the afternoon. Dentist appointment, make it in the afternoon. So the idea is, it takes so long to create the right habit, but it takes about 8 minutes to get out of it. And that's a problem. So I love that thought of don't make appointments in the morning, right? I mean, so the appointment you have to generate new business should be the most important appointment in your whole schedule. Because without it, you don't have a business. It's that simple. I mean, if I offered you a job and say, I'm going to pay you $150,000 a year salary, but here's what you got to do. You got to show up every morning at the office at 7:30, call hot leads, 8 o'clock, role play, 8:30, get on the phones and prospect till noon. I mean, $150,000 a year, well, you're going to do it, or you're fired. Well, you need to set yourself up and say, look, I'm going to pay myself $150,000 a year, but in order to earn that money, here's how I do it. if you want the money. You got to want it bad enough. That's the key to the whole thing. Anybody else have any other thoughts? I'm going to pick on Amy. I like picking on Amy. Amy, what do you got? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts?
Yes.
My thoughts are I need to focus on the schedule and less time beat myself up when I don't do the schedule.
Right. Yeah, I don't want you to feel great because you didn't do your schedule, but I don't want you to spend a ton of time dwelling on it. Because what happens are, so think about that. You are what you think about. So if you're dwelling on not making your schedule, well, what are you thinking about? Not making your schedule. And then guess what happens? You don't make your schedule again. So you have to write affirmations, right? Maybe that's what we'll do next week. So next week's a short week, because, there's only, because, coaching's Wednesday, Thursday's 4th of July, and Friday is a bust, so maybe that's what I'll do instead of, I'll deviate from the schedule because I create 4-day lesson plans. So maybe I'll do affirmation, writing affirmations for yourself. And then I think I think I'll do that. Hey, Debbie, can you make sure you send me an email so I don't forget that? So anyway, so you got your assignments, right? Right at the end of every hour, write down what you did. And then also write down anything that's causing you to be overwhelmed. And remember, if you dwell on something, guess what? You're going to get more of it. So don't dwell on it. Think about it, but don't dwell on it. Don't keep thinking about it. So, all right. So it's 8:25. We got to cut it off. Unless you got any questions or thoughts right now, let's go ahead and get those. And then if not, I'll see you in 5 minutes for role play. And today we're going to be doing the beginning of the listing presentation. Yesterday we did the pre-listing, pre-qualifying the listing appointment. Today we're going to start the listing presentation. It's the 1-minute version, the first step of the listing presentation. We'll go through that. Okay? All right. Any questions? Okay. I'll see you guys in 5 minutes.